Today's session, we're going to see a shift take place that we talked about in our first session. And so in the first half of this letter, Paul's going to say, now this is who Jesus is. This is what the cross has accomplished for you. And then the second half of the letter that we're about to dive into, Paul's going to start saying, now, in light of this, this is how we are to walk and live as Christians. So as we start in verse 16 of chapter 2, Paul says, therefore, again referring back to what he said before. So when he says you were dead and God made you alive at the cross, he forgave you all your sin at the cross, and he triumphed over Satan and disarmed him at the cross. Therefore, let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and drink, or with regard to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of the things to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. So in a nutshell, what Paul is saying there is religion is gone. You now are in a right relationship with God because of Jesus. So one of the biggest opponents for Christianity and for this church would have been Judaism. So Jews knew that a Messiah was coming, but some denied Jesus as that Messiah. And so those Jews were trying to put Judaism back on to Christians. So they were giving them the law and rules again. And Paul says, no, the law and rules was only a shadow of the things to come, pointing us to Jesus. But now Jesus is here. Everything has changed. Verse 18, let no one disqualify you, insisting on asceticism. Asceticism meaning just a strict self-discipline, a religious word, usually an avoidance of something. In worship of angels, going on in detail about visions puffed up without reason by his sensuous mind, not holding fast to the head, from whom the whole body, nourished and knit together through its joints and ligaments, grows with the growth that is from God. Paul says, do not be bogged down by these rules from these religious people. So they're insisting on extreme self-discipline. And he said they're puffed up without reason for their sensuous mind. So they're feeling things. They're acting on their emotions and their feelings. He says, but they're not holding fast to the head. The head being Christ. If you remember in chapter 1, Paul says that he, Jesus, is the head of the body, the church. So Jesus, they're not holding fast to Jesus, whom everything is nourished by and grows from a growth that is from God. So saying if they're not holding fast to Jesus, there's no growth there. It's not real. So he's saying you hold fast to the head. And I like that he says that the body is knit together. So he's almost saying like if one of us is swayed away by false teaching, it affects all of us. We are one body. Verse 20. If with Christ you died to the elemental spirits of the world, why, as if you were still alive in the world, do you submit to regulations? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch, referring to things that all perish as they are used, according to human precepts and teachings. These have indeed an appearance of wisdom in promoting self-made religion and asceticism and severity to the body, but they are of no value in stopping the indulgence of the flesh. So Paul's saying, if you have died to the world, why do you continue to live like you're still in the world? Paul's saying, if you've died with Christ, there should be this radical nature to you. Like you should look different, right? He's saying you're still following rules. Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch. Paul's saying these things look like they might have wisdom, looks like they might bring severity to the body, self-discipline, but they have no value in stopping the indulgence of the flesh. So this indulgence, this sinfulness in us that craves the cravings of our flesh, Paul says religion, rules, regulations, has no power over that indulgence. So there's something better, Paul says. Your relationship with Jesus. The power of the cross is the only thing to push you away from sin. So our joy in him, our relationship with him, his grace covering us, pushes us away from our sinful indulgences. But be careful, because some people think, well, if there's no more rules, I'll just keep on sinning and I'll be forgiven. That's a dangerous place to be. Paul, in the next session, is going to have some strict words against that mindset. But for now, he is strictly just saying religion, all the rules, cannot keep you away from your sinful indulgences. Your faith in Jesus, his joy in you, displacing your sin, is the new power in you. Chapter 3, verse 1. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. So Paul's saying you've been raised with Christ. He is at the right hand of God. Why are you still having your eyes on the earth? Set your minds on things that are above. Now, why do we continue to live for the world? We try to gain and get the bigger house, and we live for temporary pleasures. Paul's saying, lift your eyes. Jesus is at the right hand of God. Set your mind there, because you have died with him. Your life is hidden with him in God. And when he appears, you will appear with him in glory. So you are on your way to glory. Live like that. Set your mind there. It is much greater than this temporary, shallow earth. So religion is gone. Christ has come. Judaism, the law, rules were all pointing to Jesus, and now he is here. Therefore, live like it. Live as if you are free in Christ. Your faith in him, your joy in him, the power of his cross is going to push you away from your sin. Set your mind where he is. No longer are we to live for this world. Set your mind on Christ. You're going to appear with him in glory. Live like it. The next session is an important session, as Paul's going to look at our sin, and he's going to tell us how to handle it. I'll see you there.